Hey, it's Lisa Robbin Young here, and after the extensive amount of work that you guys did yesterday, I want to kind of cut you a little bit of slack today, but we're building momentum to roll into the new year, and I want to make sure that we don't lose that momentum and that you guys stay geeked about what next year can bring for you. So hopefully you've had an opportunity to celebrate your wins, look at what went well this year, and look at some of the things that didn't go according to plan. Hopefully you had a chance to dig into that SWOT analysis form and listen to the audio and start thinking about things like your marketing calendar. All of those downloads are right there on the page. Make sure that you scroll because there are several pages of video in this series, and I want to make sure you don't miss any of it because come the new year, it's all going to be gone. And want you to make sure that you have an opportunity to get access to as much of it as you possibly can to really implement and put into practice for your new year to start off on the right foot from a business perspective. I mean, we all talk about resolutions and all that good stuff, but let's look at our business from a business perspective and do some long range total year planning. And that's something that most of us in direct sales aren't taught to do. You know, we're taught book in close, 21 and up, book in for the next 2 weeks, and I like to get my clients looking at the next 90 days. How many shows do you have on your calendar for the next 3 months? How solid is your booking schedule for the next 3 months? How many appointments do you have? How many clients are you seeing? Because if you've got a 3-month window of opportunity, that feels a lot better than, oh my gosh, I don't have anything after the next 2 weeks. You're always in panic mode. But when your calendar is full 3 months out, that feels a whole lot better. I mean, just feel that for a second. It feels a whole lot better. So what we're going to do today is build on what we've already been doing. And this is something that I call visioning for the future, which isn't a fancy thing. I'm sure a lot of people probably call it the same thing. But what I want you to do is now sit with a piece of paper and write down what you would like 2012 to realistically look like for you. And that could be a challenge because I'm one of those people who has never done realistically very well. This year has been a lesson in realistic for me. My new coach talks about sustainability and the need to do whatever I'm doing and keep it sustainable because I've done a lot of things that I probably shouldn't have been able to do given the resources that I had, but then they weren't sustainable for me to continue to do them in that fashion. And so I don't want you to have to make that same mistake. So let's sit down with a piece of paper and a pencil and let's draw some ideas, sketch a picture. Here's your magic paintbrush, okay? And you can paint your picture any way you want it to look, but let's be realistic about what's attainable based on what other things you have going on in your life for your business for next year. So for example, if you've been doing 1 show a month and your calendar is pretty full with family commitments and other requirements that keep you away from your direct sales business, don't say I want to do 4 shows a week. It's not realistic. It's not. What would be a better idea might be to take that 1 show that you're doing and make it a better show. Get more people in attendance, have higher show sales, get more bookings, okay? And those goals focus on actions that you can control. You know, you can do things to get more people there. You can't put a gun to their head and make them come, but if you're doing proper host coaching, if you're encouraging her to put 30 to 40 names on that list, she's going to have more people at the party. And that's where I want you to focus is let's look at painting a realistic picture. If you were to look at your business 1 year from today, how would you know it was successful? What are the criteria that you would use to say, yes, this was a successful year for me? Okay, not backflips and cartwheels and $10 million falling from the sky. That would be nice, but there's a lot more effort that you have to put in to make that happen. So let's talk realistically. If we fast forward 1 year from today, what's going to be a realistic goal for you in your business? And I want you to just paint that picture and stretch that out and look at it month by month and just kind of get a feel of, okay, it's January. What do I want my business to be like in January? Okay, it's February. What do I want my business to be like in February? And take it month by month. A lot of times we look at the whole year, and then we're going to talk about something in the next video called backward planning. But we don't tend to do that as often as we should, and we say, okay, well, I want, $80,000 in sales next year personally. And then we break it down and say, okay, well, or let's do 120 because that makes my math easy. $120,000 in sales next year. That means I got to sell $10,000 a month. Okay. Well, maybe that's not realistic for you in January. So let's look at this month by month going forward first. What do I want my January to look like? What do I want my February to look like? And just kind of break it down every month. Okay, what you would feel good about, what you would call successful. And if you've been in business for a couple of years, you can compare this to the numbers that you already have in your business. If you know historically that you're doing $7,000 in sales in January and $3,000 in sales in February, you can take that into account when you set your goals for this year. So just take it 1 month at a time. And when you've got that all done, we're going to add what I call the stretch goal. Okay, you're going to take all the goals that you've written down. And don't watch this part until you've done that, okay? You're going to take all the goals that you've written down, and then you're going to bump them up by 20%. So if you want to have 10 shows on your calendar in the month of June, you're going to bump that to 12. Now, the reason I say 20% is because 20% is a nice stretch. It's not too far beyond the realm of reason. If you're doing 10 shows, it's very possible that you could do 12. If it's absolutely out of the realm of possibility, it won't happen. But because you've set the stretch for yourself, it gives you the opportunity to shoot for more without killing yourself in the process. If you're already doing $1,000 shows, a $1,200 show is not a big deal. Okay, if you're already doing a $500 show, that $600 show is just a 20% increase, but that's huge in terms of what your year will look like if you give yourself just a little bit of stretch. Okay, if you're seeing one person a month and signing them to your team, 1.2 people a month isn't a big deal because it doesn't feel like it's still really only one person a month, but because you're having that average of, you're going to add an extra couple of people by the end of the year to your team. And that's significant. Especially significant if you're trying to achieve recognition with your home office or trying to earn an incentive trip or something like that. So create a realistic picture for next year and then stretch it by 20%. If that feels way too big for you, then stretch it by 10%. But as you develop that muscle, as you flex that muscle, you'll find that 20% really isn't that much of a stretch in most cases. And remember to include personal time off and self-care goals in all of this, because we get so focused on, I got to do 45 shows and I got to have, $20 million in sales and I got to have 59 people on my team by June. And we forget, you know what? Our bodies will collapse if we don't take the time to take care of ourselves and nurture ourselves and practice the self-care that's so needed for business owners everywhere, but especially for women in direct sales who tend to not put their own needs first. Yeah, I'm talking to you because I'm one of those people too. I'm a recovering lack of self-care person. We need to take that time. One of the mantras that I always say is, you're the most important product that your company has to offer. And if you're not taking care of you, who's going to take care of you? I didn't hear anybody answer either. So if it's not you, it's not happening. So make sure that you're including those things, because we can work ourselves to the bone and have all of these accolades and not feel good about it. Or we can work ourselves inside a reasonable set of parameters and feel good about what we accomplish and feel good that we were able to take time off and celebrate those wins, which we talked about in our last video. So that's what I want you to do today. Just paint that picture, take it month by month from January to December of next year, and then add a 20% stretch. Don't do it and then not add the 20%, and don't shoot low so that you can add the 20% and make it feel comfortable. The idea of the stretch is to be just a little bit uncomfortable so that it expands your comfort zone and gets you thinking bigger without freaking you out. That's really the objective of the 20% stretch. So that's today's assignment. Tomorrow we are going to talk about backward planning and putting an action plan in place for the stuff that we've been talking about. And if you're loving these videos, if you're loving this content, I would love to hear from you. Send us an email, info@directsalesclassroom.com. Post a reply to a newsletter. Just let us know, share it on social media. Let us know what you're getting out of this series. And remember, if you're not already subscribed to the Party On mailing list, you're going to want to do that, because in the new year, it won't be free anymore. And I would hate for you to miss out on great trainings like this just because you didn't get on the list. And next year, you'll be paying $10 to get on the list. Once you're on, And if you're already on, you're grandfathered in, so you don't have to worry. But if you want to get involved in this and you want to have advanced access to some of the new courses that we're putting out next year at no cost to you, you're going to want to get on the list. Sign up in the little box down there, and we will take care of it from there. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we will see you tomorrow in the next video.